Welcome to Inbox AI. I'm Fran. Today, we're embarking on a journey to understand the rapidly evolving world of artificial intelligence. Not just what it can do, but what it is. How it's changing our world, and perhaps even us. So let's start at the beginning, or at least what feels like a fundamental question. When we talk about AI, are these systems actually thinking? A rather pointed study from Apple, intriguingly titled The Illusion of Thinking, suggests we might want to pump the brakes on that assumption. The core argument is that large AI models, the kind powering those chatbots everyone's talking about, don't think in any human sense. Instead, they're incredibly sophisticated calculators, determining statistically probable responses. The study used classic puzzles to make its case, demonstrating that AI tends to stumble when faced with complex multi-step logical problems. This rather deflates the notion that simply scaling up these models, making them bigger, and feeding them more data will magically lead to true general intelligence. The authors warn us against anthropomorphizing AI. Treating it like a little digital person. While it might feel natural, it can lead to an uncritical trust in algorithms. It's a crucial distinction. AI's current power lies in identifying correlations, patterns in data, not in understanding conscious causality, the why behind things. This raises some rather significant questions, doesn't it? Is our tendency to project human qualities onto AI a harmless quirk, or could it be a dangerous path, leading us to depend uncritically on these systems? And if just making AI models bigger isn't the path to artificial general intelligence, or AGI, what does that actually mean for the entire pursuit? Perhaps we should be less concerned about AI's occasional hallucinations and more about our own illusions of thinking when we interact with it, especially when we consider using AI for critical tasks like medical diagnoses, where uncritical trust could lead to very real risks. If AI isn't thinking, as we understand it, but is exceptionally good at pattern recognition and statistical calculation, what does that mean for its capabilities? Where does it excel, and where does it fall short? Antonio Ortiz, in an article titled "Sobre si la inteligencia artificial ganará antes un Nobel de Ciencias que el premio Pulitzer," delves into this. He discusses a claim from researchers at Anthropic that current AI systems could potentially automate all white-collar jobs within 5 years. Now, that's a bold statement. The reasoning behind it is that if you can build an objective judge for a task, AI can master that task through reinforcement learning. This leads to a fascinating hypothesis. AI might be more likely to excel in scientific reasoning, perhaps even to the point of achieving something akin to a Nobel Prize, before it could genuinely win a Pulitzer for creative arts. Why? Because scientific discovery often involves verifiable feedback loops, clear right and wrong answers, which AI can process. Creative endeavors, on the other hand, are far more subjective. However, Ortiz also offers a critique of this optimistic view of automation. He points out the limitations of reinforcement learning, particularly when it comes to generalization across complex, diverse tasks. And then there's the persistent hallucination problem, where AI agents confidently state inaccuracies as facts. This suggests that while specialized AI agents will undoubtedly emerge and prove incredibly useful, the idea of full automation of all white-collar jobs in the near future might be a bit ambitious. So is the 5-year automation claim a realistic prediction, or is it perhaps tinged with the usual AI hype? And if AI is better suited to winning a Nobel than a Pulitzer, what does that really tell us about the future of human creativity versus human analytical skill? Is the hallucination problem a fundamental, perhaps even insurmountable flaw for AI agents, or just a temporary technical hurdle on the path to greater capability? This brings us to a rather uncomfortable question about ourselves. We're building these powerful tools, understanding their strengths and their very significant limitations. But how do we interact with them? An article titled, "How Much Agency Do We Actually Want?" explores a fascinating paradox. Despite our frequent claims of desiring autonomy and freedom, it seems many of us actually prefer clear instructions and checklists, especially when it comes to achieving our goals. The piece illustrates this with some telling anecdotes. Think about a tech company's detailed promotion rubric, essentially a step-by-step guide to climbing the ladder, or a startup's internal AI designed to provide answers and direction. Even the appeal of traditionally structured paths like law or business school is highlighted. They can be seen as destination machines, offering a clear route to a defined outcome, rather than demanding true self-direction. The article concludes with a rather chilling cautionary tale. An individual, Mr. Torres, who was reportedly led into a delusional spiral by meticulously following ChatGPT's instructions. This starkly highlights the potential dangers of uncritically outsourcing our personal agency, especially to systems that, as we've discussed, don't actually think. It forces us to ask, do we genuinely desire the responsibility that comes with agency? Or do we secretly crave those checklists for life's big questions? Is the Silicon Valley dream of AI agents freeing us up to be managers of our lives just another, more sophisticated way of outsourcing our own decision-making? And if we are constantly seeking instructions, what are the ethical implications when those instructions come from an AI, especially one prone to errors or lacking genuine understanding, as the Mr. Torres example suggests? This human tendency to seek and follow instructions, even from AI, has some immediate and very practical consequences, particularly as these AI models become the new gatekeepers of information. We're seeing this play out right now in the world of online search. An article titled, "Si XA-U00F3MO conseguir que ChatGPT hable sobre tu empresa," discusses the significant impact that large language models, or LLMs, and AI overviews are having on web traffic, noting a particular decline in traffic from Google for some. It seems the way people find information is shifting. The article explains that LLMs source their information from a few key places: their initial training data, live web searches, and structured knowledge graphs. So for content creators and businesses who rely on being found online, this is a seismic shift. The strategies to maintain visibility in this new environment involve a renewed focus on strong branding, because people might search for you directly. Strategic link building remains important, as does adapting to new search intentions. How are people phrasing their queries to AI? And crucially, creating original, semantically structured content is key, as this helps AI models understand and hopefully surface your information in their generated responses. This begs the question: is Google's traffic truly falling off a cliff due to these AI overviews? Or is this an initial overreaction to a changing landscape? If LLMs are indeed the new gatekeepers, how can smaller businesses possibly compete with established brands for that precious visibility in AI-generated answers? Is the long-prophesied death of SEO finally upon us? Or is search engine optimization simply evolving into something new and perhaps unrecognizable? The struggle for visibility in an AI-dominated search landscape is one thing, but as Jamin Ball points out in Clouded Judgment 61325, the battle for data ownership, there's an even more fundamental battle brewing beneath the surface. This is the fight for control over the very data that fuels these powerful AI systems. Ball highlights recent changes to Slack's terms of service, which, he notes, significantly restrict customers' ability to access, index, and use their own Slack data via API, particularly for AI-driven workflows. The argument presented is that this isn't just a minor policy tweak. It's a defensive maneuver by incumbent platforms. They're trying to avoid being reduced to mere dumb databases, simple repositories of information that others build value upon. Instead, they want to control the burgeoning AI agent ecosystem that interacts with their platforms and the data within them. Ball suggests this trend could mirror historical shifts in data infrastructure, where we saw a move from closed, proprietary systems towards more open ones. The core issue is clear. In the age of AI, control over data is paramount. It raises some critical questions for businesses and users alike. Is Slack's move, for example, primarily a defensive play to control AI workflows and capture future value, or is it a necessary step to protect user data and privacy? If major SaaS platforms increasingly lock down access to data, does that stifle innovation for the third-party AI tools that could leverage that data in new and interesting ways? And perhaps most fundamentally, how can companies truly claim to own their data if it resides within a third party's closed system, with access increasingly mediated by that third party? So, we have artificial intelligence that doesn't think in a human way, yet it's capable enough to reshape how we access information and perform certain tasks. We see ourselves as humans perhaps more willing to cede agency and follow instructions than we'd like to admit. And this is all happening amidst emerging battles for the control of data, the lifeblood of AI. It paints a complex, dynamic, and perhaps even slightly unsettling picture of the present. But could there be an unexpected way to frame the massive societal shifts that AI might bring? An article titled Modern Magnificenza offers a provocative thought. It argues that our society is currently dominated by what it calls left-brained thinking. That's the analytical, rational side of things. The piece suggests we need a return to a right-brained balance, emphasizing contextual understanding and intuition, something akin to the spirit of the Renaissance. Now here's the interesting twist. It proposes that modern tech billionaires, with their immense concentrated wealth and often stated desire to build lasting legacies, could become the new Medici. The Medici, you'll recall, were the powerful patrons of the arts and public works during the Italian Renaissance. The idea is that these tech leaders could fund a new era of magnificenza, grand public works and cultural projects aimed at restoring beauty and aligning private wealth with the public good. This is presented as particularly relevant in an age of perceived institutional decline and the profound societal shifts anticipated from AI, including what the article terms a potential demographic shock of proto-intelligent software beings. It's a grand vision, certainly, but is this concept of magnificence a genuinely viable alternative to traditional philanthropy? Or could it be perceived as a more self-serving form of public spending by the ultra-wealthy? And can tech billionaires, often products and champions of highly analytical, left-brained pursuits, truly pivot to become the patrons of a new, more balanced renaissance? Especially if AI does indeed reshape society so fundamentally. So from questioning the very nature of AI's thought to grappling with our own desire for direction, the very real impact on how we find information, and the unfolding battles for the data that fuels this new era, it's clear we're navigating uncharted territory. Perhaps the biggest takeaway is that understanding artificial intelligence isn't just about understanding a new set of technologies. It's profoundly about understanding ourselves, our tendencies, and ultimately the kind of future we want to consciously build with these powerful, if not quite thinking, tools. That's all for this episode of Inbox AI. I'm Fran, thanks for listening,